Hi everyone, I'm back with more from the big book of BS about Etsy that you think is wrong, but you hear it often enough that you think it might be right because you hear it and it gets you confused. Last week, I talked about the chapter in this book that was about writing your titles. Today, I'm going to be talking about writing your tags. Again, this is not hard. I don't know why people make this so difficult, but it's probably because you think you're going to do something wrong. You're really not going to do anything wrong. What you need to remember is that tags on Etsy are basically just additional keywords. They're not magic. They're not going to guarantee that you get put on the first page of search. It's just there to give Etsy search more information about what your listing is. That's all. So don't worry about them too much. In fact, tags are actually optional. You don't have to put tags in. And it says that when you fill out your listing, it says tags are optional. So, when you're looking at that, you can obviously see that the title is the most important. You do have to have a title. You don't have to have tags, but it's good to fill all of them out just to give Etsy search engine more information about your listing. One thing that people say all the time is that you have to have the whole title in your tags, and that is complete garbage, that is nonsense, and you don't even need to repeat one word these days. It used to be that Etsy said you needed to repeat your best keyword in your title and your tags to indicate to the search engine that that was a more relevant match for that listing. It doesn't seem to be working these days that way. And I will say that Etsy has not updated their How Etsy Search Works article in maybe 5 years. It's been sitting there. We know that search has changed, but they have not updated the article. And if you use your own eyes and go into Etsy and do some test, searches, you can see that a lot of the things that you search for are not matched in the title and tags, even though that listing does come up on the first page. So don't sweat about that, and definitely don't put your whole title in your tags. That's a waste of space. The title is there. Etsy can see it. It doesn't need to be repeated in the tags. To be on the safe side, I always repeat, well, not always. Sometimes I will repeat one important keyword in the tags just because they still say that even though they haven't updated that article. To be on the safe side, I would do that. It doesn't take up too much space, but you definitely don't need to repeat your whole title. The other thing about tags that people don't seem to understand is that they don't need to make coherent sense individually. You can put multiple words in the tag that don't make sense together, but each one individually does give more context to the listing. For example, I sell cake decorations in one of my shops. So I might put on the tags, one tag might say baby shower birthday, or the next one might say anniversary, wedding, bridal. Because I know that Etsy hops around in between the title and tags to find keyword matches. So if someone searches on Etsy for bridal, shower, cake decorations, all of those words are in the title and tags, not necessarily in the same order, but I will be found for that search because all of the words are in there. It's fine if your tags do make sense, but they don't have to. So just keep that in mind and don't worry about that too much, that you don't have to make every single thing make sense. Something that I mentioned in the last video is that people say you should never repeat a keyword in your titles. They say the same thing about tags, but again, that is ridiculous because sometimes you do want to put an exact word order match in there for whatever reason. And you can repeat a keyword. You can put keywords that you have in the title in the tags. You don't have to, but you can. It's not going to hurt you. And it's up to you. You just put whatever you want in the tags to tell the search engine what the listing is and give it more information so that it can show it to the right people. That's basically what the tags are for. It's just to give context to the listing. Something else that Etsy started doing maybe, I think it was 4 or 5 years ago, is that they started kind of adding, they're not really adding words, but the search has gone from being very matchy and word order match years ago to being more contextual. So you might have a listing that is for bracelets or jewelry. And in that title, you might have something like birthday gift for mom, which honestly, I wouldn't put that in the title, but you might have that in your title. So, okay, birthday gift for mom. And if someone searches on Etsy for birthday gift for women, your listing might still come up even though you don't have the word women in your title or your tags. Etsy uses context and they know that mom is a woman, so they're going to, show that for gift for women. So it's not 100% necessary that you put every single variation of every word in there, But if you want to validate to Etsy that yes, that listing is a good birthday gift for women, then you probably should put the word women in there. Another thing that people ask about is whether you should put misspellings and foreign words in your tags. Yeah, sometimes there is a lack of correction that Etsy does. Like sometimes Etsy will correct for misspellings, but I have found a lot of words that Etsy does not correct for. And the tags are a really good place to bury things that you don't want customers to see in the title. I have people in my eShop program who have very specific customers who would be offended by specific words being misspelled. You don't want to put that in the title where they can see it, but you can put it in the tags because most people are not going to look at your tags and they won't understand that you put them there even if they do look at them. So the tags are a good place to put things that are misspelled, but that Etsy doesn't correct for, and that actually can bring you a little bit additional traffic. And yeah, I know that it's going to be painful to do that, but just do it. Another thing to keep in mind, and I've said this before already, is that the title is more important than the tags as far as search goes, and as far as the customer goes, because like I just said, they don't usually look at the tags, but they do see the title. So make sure that you're putting your best, most descriptive keywords in the title, and bury everything else in the tags. The search engine will still see it and it will still use those keywords to support the title and give more context to the listing. But customers see the title and that's where you want your best keywords to be for them. Not for the search engine because it'll see both, but make sure that you put everything in the title that you want in there. Categories and attributes are also considered, like they're used for tags, more or less. It's basically keywords. So if you have a category or an attribute that shows up in your tags as like a high-level category, you don't have to repeat that. However, there have been times on Etsy in the time that I've been on it that they were not using that correctly. And people who had, I think it was some kind of Christmas decor, it was a Christmas specific keyword, and Etsy was not using the holiday attribute as a keyword for a certain amount of time. And people were dropping, like their traffic was dropping because of that. So if you have a really important tag that happens to be a category, don't say, oh, well, I don't need to put it in there because the category is there. If it's something really important that you do want to be found for, put it in a tag. It's not that big a deal. It'll take up a little space, but that's okay because that'll give you the insurance that Etsy will find that term. And if there is another glitch, it won't hit you at all. Also, just because tags are optional, it doesn't mean that you can ignore them, because the more context you give to a listing, the better. And if you put all the words in the tags that you can, it will give more context to the search engine. And when I say fill them all out, I mean use all 20 characters. Each tag is 20 characters. It doesn't really matter. Like I said, they don't need to make sense. So if you have a shorter word that you can fit on another tag because you have extra space, put it in there. That'll open up other tags for you to put other things in. And don't worry about them not making sense because it doesn't matter. If you have any questions, post them under this video. I will be glad to answer them. And give this video a thumbs up. I do appreciate it. Go watch the one about titles if you haven't seen it. And I will talk to you next week about your photos.